Hello Cannon Army viewers, and welcome back to Alaska. I wanted to make an update video to show everybody the new enclosure I constructed for my Galapagos tortoises. I was hoping they would stay in their medium waterland tub until I left Alaska in August. Unfortunately, that didn't seem like it was going to work. So I've made them a new upgraded enclosure, which will last them probably a little bit further beyond August. Once I get back down to the lower 48, this will make a good wintertime or bad weather enclosure when I have to bring them in from outside. This enclosure is considerably larger than the waterland tub. The waterland tub is 70 inches by about 30 inches. This is 96 inches by about 40 inches across, just over about 3.5 feet wide. So I've effectively doubled the living space for the tortoises. I say tortoises, but as of right now, there's only one tortoise here, and that's Beagle currently. Fitz is still in the waterland tub. They decided that the hierarchy that they've established for the first 3.5 years of their lives wasn't going to do anymore. So by putting them into a new enclosure, it threw off that dynamic, and they began to do their towering and mouth gaping behavior that you see right now. Now, if it was only the towering mouth gaping, I wouldn't be that concerned. But it turned into nipping and biting and massive shell ramming. And if you've watched any of Cannon's videos, you know that ramming shells head on can do some serious damage to the connective skin where their shell meets their arms and neck skin. And I do not want to risk that type of injury to these guys. So while I prefer to let them hash it out on their own and do what tortoises do, I made the decision to separate them to prevent any risk of injury. What I've decided to do is swap these two out every couple of days, kind of like a timeshare. That way, one isn't always in a small enclosure, the other isn't always in a large enclosure. Go back and forth, and I may try in the future to put these two back together and see how they act. But I'm not here 24 hours a day, so I don't think that I'm going to get to a point until I have a large outside space for them that I'll be completely comfortable leaving them by themselves without adult supervision. So until they come to a complete truce, instead of being roommates, they'll just end up being really close neighbors. I'm going to bring it closer so that you can see some of the features of this new enclosure. It shares some similarities with the waterland tub, but I've clearly made several upgrades and modifications to make this suitable for these guys as they get a little bit larger. So come on over, have a look. As you can see, I've used a similar lighting technique that I use with most of my tortoises that are in open air containers. This light right here is a ZoomEd T5 high output light that's designed to emit UV radiation at an actual usable distance. With these type of bulbs, you don't have to be 6 inches away anymore. You can be 12 inches, 18 inches, and they're still getting a dose of actual UVB. These give off an okay amount of light, but I like my enclosures to be better lit. So the other strip light is just an LED, and I have a 6500K and a 5000K bulb in there to simulate different ranges in the visible spectrum. What that does between this one and those two, they're getting a lot more of the spectrums they would see from the actual sun, which helps out in food selection and looking around the way their eyes work. And then down there, I'm using the same type of heat lamps. In this case, I have 3 heat lamps going. They're 100 watt par 38 flood lamps with tungsten filaments. The tungsten filaments are important because their peak frequency is just below what we're able to see, but it's one of the best IR frequencies for heat absorption. And it's very similar to the morning sun. As soon as the lights turn on, in fact, a little bit of light goes through here, the little flaps that I've made, and these guys start coming out pretty much immediately. When you use a wide range of lights throughout the visible spectrum, you would be amazed at the circadian dictated behaviors that your tortoises start exhibiting. It's quite astounding. You'll see that I've used similar designs and furnishings as I did in the waterland cage. I've put logs and sliced up firewood in here to give them areas to climb over, to make them exercise their legs like they always have. And Beagle's coming over because he wants to be petted as he goes into what we call elevator. I've built in their nighttime hide a little bit differently, but kind of the same. It's more or less wood on the outside, flaps that I made myself from cheap car floor mats, and I have a radiant heat panel in here that fluctuates between 81 and 84. It keeps them in the low 80s for these guys. I don't want their heat boxes to replace their basking. That's the purpose of this, is to give them somewhere to stay warm at nighttime or when they feel like they want to get away from everybody. I've also incorporated the same type of plumbing that I use to irrigate all my other systems. Granted, this took a lot more PVC pipe to make, but just like every other enclosure, there's PVC pipe underneath of everything. So as I add water in, it goes into the clay pebble layer, and then just below the top surface is a moist layer if they want to get down to it, which they do a lot. They'll go under the heat lamps and dig down a little bit. That way it gives them the perfect balance of what they feel they need between hot, cold, and humidity. And he would stay here all day and let me pet him. Now, one of the really interesting things about this enclosure is what it's made out of. You can see, obviously, 8x8 boards, 8 inches by 8 feet, but the base of it is actually made of 2 sleds that people up here use when they go ice fishing. They were on sale at Cabela's, so I bought 2 of them, sliced off the angled portion, bolted them together, siliconed the bottom, and I've got a perfect bottom base for a tortoise enclosure. After that, it was just a matter of putting the walls on here, using brackets to affix the walls on here to keep it nice and tight so that they can't accidentally push anything over, and add dirt and tortoises. So, Cannon Army viewers, that's it for this Alaskan update. I hope you've enjoyed this one as much as you guys enjoyed my last video. I will try to stop in and show everybody what's new up here in the Arctic, and when I do get ready to move, I'll be documenting that entire process because it's going to be a process. And so, until my next video submission, have a great day.